Get comfortable. Relax every part of your body, from your head to your toes, your shoulders. Let them drop. Your arms, release them. Your legs, growing heavier. Close your eyes and journey with me 900 years back in time. You are now in the year 1150, northern England, in a stone fortress, the son of a Norman nobleman. Can you hear it? In the distance, birds singing. Even farther away, the sound of hoofbeats. In this place, at this time, your father has made a decision about your future. You will become a knight. Congratulations. The good news, statistically speaking, being a knight in medieval Europe was relatively prestigious. You would have status, land potentially, a title, yes, prestigious. The bad news, your life, from this moment forward, is about to become completely and utterly miserable. Tonight I'll tell you about what Hollywood movies won't show you, the real daily life of an actual medieval knight. Not the fantasy, but the truth. The story begins one cold morning. You are 5 years old. Yes, 5. This wasn't unusual in medieval society. Historians tell us that noble families routinely sent their sons away at this age, sometimes even younger. Why? Because they believed that a boy raised with his mother would become soft, weak, unfit for warfare. So your father, likely already in his 40s, summons you to his private chamber one dawn. Stone walls all around, torches burning in the darkness. Your father sits in a wooden chair, scarred from old battles. My son, he says, you have grown enough. Today you journey to your education. Your mother, she's not present. That's intentional. By afternoon, a horse is brought to the castle courtyard. You're lifted onto it. A travel cloak placed around your shoulders. An older man, a knight your father knows, takes the reins. Your mother watches from the castle walls, but you're told not to turn around. A man does not cling to his mother, your father says. The castle gates close behind you. You're traveling toward a fortress 3 days' journey away. The training castle of Sir Edmund de Hauteville, a knight famous for producing hard men. The road is muddy. Your horse's hooves make sucking sounds in the earth. Wolves howl in the distance at night. You sleep huddled against the knight's cloak, terrified. When you arrive, the sight is overwhelming. A massive stone fortress, soldiers everywhere. And in the training yard, dozens of boys, all wearing identical red tunics. This fortress holds approximately 60 young boys, ages ranging from 5 to 17. They're divided into 2 strict classes: pages, the younger children like yourself, and squires, the older adolescents training to become full knights. The hierarchy is absolute. Squires can strike pages. Senior pages can strike junior pages. Only Sir Edmund stands above all. Your first night. You're assigned a sleeping spot on the stone floor, in a corner of the dormitory. No privacy, no comfort around you. The sounds of boys weeping, some trying to hide their tears, others making no attempt. A boy near you, maybe 7 years old, is whispering to himself, repeating a prayer. Over and over. You don't sleep. Your mind races with the reality of what's happened. The bell rings before dawn. Metal on metal, loud, urgent. Everyone rises. You have no idea what's expected of you. So you watch the other boys, copying their movements, joining the crowd stumbling into darkness. In the courtyard, rows forming. Sir Edmund appears, long white beard. His left arm hangs slightly lower than his right from an old wound. Scar tissue visible on his neck. Welcome, newest page, he says, looking directly at you. His voice is calm, which is somehow more terrifying than if he had yelled. Training begins now, Sir Edmund announces. You're led to an armory. Stone room, weapons lining the walls. The air smells like metal and old oil. A tunic is thrown at you. Not the red outer one, but the padding underneath. layered cloth, meant to cushion blows. Then comes the armor. Not full plate armor yet. That comes later. For now, a metal breastplate, metal pauldrons for your shoulders. It weighs approximately 40 pounds. You're 5 years old. Average weight for a 5-year-old is around 50 pounds. So you're carrying nearly your own body weight in metal. Your small arms, unaccustomed to this, immediately begin trembling. Stand straight, orders the armorer. A grizzled man named Roland. You try. Your legs shake. The metal is cold, and it's pressing against your small frame. Now, walk to the courtyard. This seems impossible, but you do it, lurching forward like a tiny drunk. In the courtyard, all the other boys are similarly dressed. The pages look like toy soldiers. The squires who wear heavier armor look like insects encased in shells. Sir Edmund demonstrates a basic stance. Feet apart, hands positioned, back straight. You will hold this position, he says, for 1 hour. 1 hour. To an adult, a short time. To a 5-year-old, it feels like eternity. After 30 minutes, your legs are shaking uncontrollably. Sweat runs into your eyes. Your small shoulders burn. A boy next to you, maybe 6, starts to cry. Sir Edmund walks over and, without emotion, strikes the boy across the back of his armored shoulders with a wooden rod. The sound echoes. The blow is hard enough that it would cause pain even through the armor. Crying is permitted outside these walls, Sir Edmund says. Here. You are silent. The boy swallows his sobs, but his shoulders continue shaking. Finally, the hour ends. Sir Edmund says you may rest. You collapse to the ground, gasping. Your shoulders scream with pain. Your legs are jelly. This becomes your daily routine. First year, 1 hour of standing in armor. Second year, 2 hours. Third year, all day, but it's not just standing. By year 2, you're required to move in the armor, walking, then jogging, then running. The castle has a practice ground, about 200 meters long. You must run it in full armor, while squires on horseback chase you, not to harm you, just to make you run faster. If you fall, you must get up without assistance. Even if you can't reach the handles inside the armor to pull yourself up, most boys fall frequently their first year. Many develop injuries, twisted ankles, shoulders dislocated. Dislocated shoulders are common enough that there's a procedure. A man holds your arm while another pulls your body. The shoulder pops back into place. You bite down on a leather strap, trying not to scream. Then, you continue training the next day. Physical punishment is routine, not from anger, but from discipline. The whip is a tool of education, not cruelty. Or so they tell you, but the whip feels cruel when it cuts across your back. Age 7. Leaving marks that take weeks to fade. You're whipped if you speak out of turn, if you move incorrectly. If your armor is not polished, the whip itself is made from leather strips braided together, approximately 1 inch wide, capable of cutting skin with a single stroke. After a whipping session, your back is crisscrossed with welts, some bleeding, some just raised red marks. The wounds are treated with salt water, ostensibly to clean them, but actually to cause additional pain, which Sir Edmund believes teaches discipline. After your 10th whipping, around age 8, you stop crying. Your body goes numb. This is when Sir Edmund nods, as if you finally understood something. Good, he says. Now you're beginning to harden. Over these years, your body transforms. Your shoulders broaden unnaturally from the constant strain. Your neck thickens. Your spine develops a slight curve from carrying weight. Your hands, calloused and scarred from handling weapons, lose their softness. By age 12, your hands look like a 40-year-old man's hands, cracked, bleeding in the winter from the cold. Some boys don't survive this. Every year or so, one dies from infection or fever or simply gives up, stops eating, fades away. When a boy dies, he's buried quietly outside the fortress. A single day of mourning. Then training continues. You attend the funeral to learn acceptance of death. According to Sir Edmund, the first time you witness a boy's death, you're 9 years old. A smaller boy, maybe 7, had fallen during running practice. The armor fell on top of him, crushing his chest slightly. At first, everyone thought he was fine. He got up, continued training, but that evening, he complained of chest pain. By night, he was struggling to breathe. Johann examined him, listened to his chest, and said nothing. By morning, the boy was dead. Likely internal bleeding or a punctured lung. Nothing could have saved him. His body was wrapped in cloth, buried in the cemetery outside the walls. No marker, no name. You, by 15? You're officially a squire, no longer merely training. Now you accompany knights on actual military campaigns. Your first real battle. Elam 60, September. Against a neighboring lord's forces over disputed territorial rights. This isn't a large battle by medieval standards. Perhaps 200 soldiers on each side. But to you, it might as well be the end of the world. The preparations begin 3 days before battle. Horses are inspected. Armor is checked for damage. Weapons are sharpened. Your sword is examined by a master smith, who nods, satisfied. You don't sleep the night before. Your stomach feels as though it's trying to eat itself. The morning of battle. You wake before dawn. Your hands shake as you dress in your armor. Unlike the training armor, this is serious equipment, real mail armor. 2 layers, called hauberks, weighing approximately 60 pounds, plus a helm, plus a shield made from wood and metal, plus a sword. Total weight. Nearly 75 pounds. You've trained for 10 years. But nothing prepares you for the psychological weight of knowing. People want to kill you. The sky is gray. Threatening rain. The air smells like horses and fear. And something else. The smell of thousands of unwashed men in close quarters. The commander, Sir Edmund, addresses the troops. Today, he says, we take back what is ours. Show no mercy. Show no fear. If you die honorably, your family receives compensation. Compensation, meaning your death has a price. How comforting. The soldiers mount their horses. Row after row. The ground trembles slightly from the weight. As you approach the enemy position, the reality begins to settle in. You can see them now. Individual men on the far side of a muddy field. Their armor catching what little sunlight exists. They look terrified, just like you feel. There's a moment of total silence. About 100 soldiers on each side, staring at each other across an empty space. Then, without warning, the order to charge. What happens next? Historians call melee combat, but it's actually controlled chaos. Nightmare logic, your horse, already terrified by the noise and the energy, surges forward with the others. Suddenly, you're in the middle of screaming, the sound of metal on metal, the wet sound of weapons entering bodies. The noise is deafening. Your ears ring. You can barely hear the man next to you screaming. A soldier comes at you. He's experienced, maybe twice your age, raised in this world since childhood. You raise your sword to block, but his swing has so much force. Your arms nearly buckle. The shock travels through your shoulders. Down your spine, he swings again. Your shield takes it, and you feel your collarbone shift. Something is wrong, but there's no time to think. He presses forward, pushing you back. His horse is stronger than yours. Your horse is confused by the violence, tries to rear from your side. Another soldier, British, loyal to the other side, appears. He grabs your shield and pulls. You're nearly dragged from your horse. Your leg is pinned against the saddle. Panic surges through you. You're going to fall. You're going to die, then a squire next to you, your friend, slashes at the British soldier, connects with his shoulder. Blood sprays. Your attacker lets go, and both sides continue. Men fall around you. Some are trampled by horses, their bodies crushed into mud. Others lie on the ground, gasping, trying to crawl away. A horse next to you is wounded. An arrow through its neck. It screams, an unearthly sound, and collapses, taking its rider with it. The rider tries to get up, but his leg is pinned under the horse's weight. He's struggling, screaming for help, but no one stops. No one can stop the battle. You later learn lasted approximately 2 hours. Though it felt like days when it ended, the British forces withdrew. Not a complete victory, just another territorial skirmish. But the cost, 15 dead, 40 wounded, of those killed. 2 were squires, just like you, had been just days before. The aftermath. You're riding back to the fortress, your body in shock, your shoulder burning with pain. The dead are slung across horses. Some are left behind, deemed not important enough to recover. The wounded are moaning, some from pain, some in shock, some praying. You realize you're bleeding. Your left side. An arrow had grazed you. You hadn't even noticed during combat. The adrenaline had masked it. When you see the blood, the shock wears off. The pain hits, sharp, searing, back at the fortress. You're brought to the medical area, essentially a stone room with straw on the floor. This is where you meet Johann properly, for the first time, as a medical patient rather than a victim. Johann is perhaps 60 years old, missing 3 fingers on his left hand, the result, you later learn, of his own medieval surgery that went wrong. He's treating a man with a sword wound across his ribs. The wound is deep, exposing internal tissue, blood flowing steadily. Johann pours wine on the wound, then cauterizes it with a hot iron. The screaming fills the entire fortress. You watch in horror. But this is medicine. When it's your turn, Johann examines your wound, presses around it, determining if anything is broken. Clean wound, he says. The arrow didn't go deep. You're fortunate. You feel anything but the treatment. He cleans it with vinegar, then wraps it tightly. To keep the air out, he says. Though the logic is backwards, your own wound, you discover a day later when the shock wears off, is serious. Your collarbone is cracked. Your shoulder is severely bruised. Purple, yellow, blue, all colors appearing as blood pools beneath the skin. Johann says, it will heal, or it won't. Helpful, the treatment, herbal poultice, willow bark for pain, and time. You spend 3 weeks unable to lift your arm properly. The pain is constant, throbbing, like your shoulder is being slowly crushed. During this time, you watch other wounded soldiers. One man, a knight of higher rank, was struck in the leg, an arrow below the knee. The arrow is removed by Johann, who enlarges the wound with a knife to get better access. The man passes out from pain, which is fortunate. The wound is packed with a mixture of crushed spider webs, tree sap, and honey, supposedly to prevent infection. Instead, 3 days later, infection sets in. The wound turns black, putrid, smelling of rot, a smell that will haunt you for years. The smell of infection, if you survive long enough, becomes familiar. Too familiar. Johann makes the decision to amputate. The surgery occurs. The man is given alcohol, lots of alcohol. He's strapped down to a wooden table with leather belts. Johann saws through bone above the infection. The sound is unforgettable, like cutting through wood. The squeal of the bone saw. The man screams. You turn away, but you can't unhear it. When it's finished, the stump is sealed with hot pitch and wrapped. The man lives, technically, but something is broken in him. He stares at nothing, barely speaks. When he does speak, It's incoherent. A week later, he dies anyway, from what Johann calls internal fever. But what the next months, the fortress settles into its seasonal rhythm. Fall arrives. September through November, the castle prepares for winter. The granaries are filled with grain. The food stores are organized. Hunting expeditions bring in meat, usually deer, sometimes wild boar. Occasionally people don't come back from hunts. Hunters are sometimes killed by their prey. Boar attacks, or by being lost in the forest. Never found, the stored meat is salted, dried, preserved in ways that make it barely recognizable. The process involves salt and time. Meat hangs in the cold storage room, developing a hard, dark exterior. By January, the fresh food is completely gone. Absolutely gone. What remains? Salted pork, so heavily salted that it's practically inedible until boiled. Salted beef, in chunks. Bread made from grain stored since autumn. Dried peas, dried beans, vegetables, non-existent in winter. This means no vitamin C, which means by February, many soldiers develop scurvy. Their gums bleed. Their old wounds begin opening. They become weak. Breakfast. Bread and weak ale. The ale is actually safer than water, because the water in the well, during cold months, is collected from frozen surfaces. Filled with debris, when the ice melts, it mixes with the water. The well becomes contaminated immediately. Lunch. More bread. Maybe some dried fish. The fish has been stored so long, it's turned gray, smelling of ammonia. When cooked, it falls apart. Dinner. Thin soup, made from boiling bones in water with barley. The broth becomes gelatinous when cold. Sometimes meat is added, sometimes just herbs, most often just hot water. A portion of bread is approximately 1 pound per day. Not much, but calories are calories. The problem is the bread itself. Medieval grain was ground using stone mills. These mills, despite best efforts, occasionally produce stone dust. Mixed into bread, knights lose teeth throughout their lives, not usually from decay initially, but from biting down on hidden stones. A tooth cracks, becomes infected. Your first cracked tooth comes at age 20. You remember the exact moment, a sharp pain while chewing bread at dinner, the sensation of something crunching, your tooth giving way within a week. The tooth begins to obsess. The pain becomes unbearable. You cannot sleep. You cannot eat. You cannot concentrate. The infection spreads. Your jaw swells. One side of your face becomes distended. Johann examines it and delivers the diagnosis. It must come out. Tooth extraction in medieval times is a procedure without anesthetic, without proper tools, without hygiene. Johann uses a tool that's approximately pliers. Medieval pliers, crude, effective only partially. He places it on your tooth and pulls. The pain is indescribable. Your root is long, and it takes 3 separate pulls to remove it. You scream loudly, so loudly that other soldiers leave the medical area. They don't want to witness this. There's significant bleeding. The socket fills with blood. Your face is swollen for days. The socket becomes infected immediately. You develop fever, chills. Your body aches. Johann pours herbal solution into the socket. It's made from herbs he won't identify. It smells terrible. Tastes terrible when you accidentally swallow some. It helps. Marginally. Maybe. Or maybe the infection just runs its course. This is your first tooth. Of the 32 you started with, you will lose approximately 28 by age 45 by the time you're 30. Your face has changed noticeably. Your cheeks are hollow. Your jaw has shifted. Your voice sounds different. Your words slurring slightly. Your social status, paradoxically, is affected. A knight without teeth appears less intimidating, less impressive. Mirrors don't exist, but you catch your reflection in water and barely recognize yourself. Water is another constant problem. The castle has a well located in the courtyard, approximately 30 meters deep. The water is drawn by laborers in the morning. It's stored in large barrels. These barrels sit in the sun, collecting bacteria. By evening, the water has begun to spoil. Medieval people don't understand germ theory, but they understand that water is sometimes dangerous. The solution, alcohol. Everyone drinks weak ale, constantly. From childhood onward, a page might consume 2 liters of weak ale daily. Adults, 3 to 5 liters. This is partly for calories, partly for hydration, partly because it's safer than water. The side effect, chronic dehydration despite high liquid intake. Because alcohol is a diuretic, your body processes it, expels the water, and you remain perpetually thirsty. Your skin becomes dry. Your lips crack and bleed. Your throat perpetually sore. Summer. The real crisis arrives. May through September. The temperature rises. The water in the well becomes warmer. Bacteria multiply exponentially. The latrine situation worsens. Heat accelerates decomposition. The smell becomes almost physical. You can taste it in your mouth. Every meal carries a hint of that smell. Flies. Thousands of them. Insects everywhere. They land on food, on wounds, on you, constantly. The disease outbreaks begin. Dysentery is common. Caused by contaminated water, victims experience uncontrollable diarrhea, dehydration, often death. In your 3rd summer at the fortress, after your first battle, an outbreak occurs. Approximately 30 soldiers, afflicted within 2 days. The mortality rate among those infected is approximately 40%. You watch men die. Young men, strong men, reduced to lying on straw, expelling their insides until they're empty. And then death comes. The process is humiliating. There's no privacy, no dignity. Men lie next to each other, groaning, soiling themselves, unable to control their own bodies. There's no treatment. Water is offered, which paradoxically makes things worse. The infected soldiers drink, and it pours out of them immediately. They never absorb it. Most victims die within a week, sometimes in less than 3 days. The castle's response: remove the affected soldiers to a separate building. Restrict water access, incorrectly believing water causes the illness. Apply leeches to drain bad blood. None of it helps. You're assigned to care for the infected, carrying water they can't drink, cleaning waste, watching men die. One of your friends dies this way, a man you'd trained with for 5 years, reduced to a skeletal figure, his eyes hollow, his body completely dehydrated. His death, when it comes, is almost a mercy. The bathing, or lack thereof. You haven't bathed in approximately 2 weeks. Bathing, in medieval culture, is viewed with suspicion. The belief is that warm water opens your pores, allowing diseases to enter. So most knights bathe perhaps once yearly, usually before a religious holiday. The bathing process itself is labor-intensive. Water must be heated in massive cauldrons, hours of work. When you finally do bathe, you're placed in a wooden tub. The water is warm but murky, having been used by several people before you. The soap is lye-based, harsh, made from animal fat and wood ash. It removes the top layer of skin along with dirt after bathing. You feel simultaneously cleaner and more raw. Your skin burns, but you're also vulnerable to infection between baths. Your body accumulates layers of dirt, sweat, and filth. Lice are constant companions. Body lice are so common that men stop noticing them. Their clothes are infested. Their beards carry them at night. You wake scratching, small red marks appearing on your body. Where the lice have bitten, the scratching causes small wounds. Wounds become infected, a vicious cycle. Some men use vinegar or herbal solutions, hoping to kill the lice. It rarely works. The fungal infections are another burden. Your feet, perpetually damp from walking in mud and through castle corridors, develop fungal growth under the nails. The toenails thicken, discolor. Eventually, they separate from the nail bed. The smell from infected toenails is unique, distinct. You can identify an infected soldier by the odor alone. Johann recommends amputation of the toes. You refuse, mostly because amputation means disability. But the fungus remains, spreading, painful. Your hands are covered in scars from weapon training, small cuts, never quite healing properly. Infections appear frequently. The worst is your right palm, infected at age 22 after a sword practice wound. By the time Johann notices, the infection has spread to your wrist. His solution: cauterize with hot iron. You're held down by 2 other men. Your arm placed on a stone table. Johann heats an iron in a fire until it glows orange. When it's hot enough, he applies it to your palm. The pain is... There are no words adequate. Your scream echoes through the castle. The smell of burning flesh fills the room. It's a smell you never forget. The pain is so intense. You nearly lose consciousness. You feel your palm turning white, then black, as the heat cooks the tissue. The infection stops spreading, but the burn wound itself takes months to heal, leaving permanent scarring and permanent nerve damage for the rest of your life. The palm will be numb in places, hypersensitive in others. You can never feel temperature properly in that hand. Teeth, beyond the loss from grinding stones, decay from poor diet and lack of cleaning. Medieval toothbrushes don't exist. Teeth are cleaned, if at all, by rubbing with cloth. Most knights develop cavities by age 20. By 30, most have severe dental disease. Bad teeth are more than cosmetic. They're a source of chronic infection. Abscesses form, spreading infection toward the brain. One of your closest friends dies at age 34 from a tooth abscess that became a brain infection. The illness progresses over 2 weeks. High fever, confusion, violent headaches. He starts raving, speaking in languages that don't exist, seeing things that aren't there. Johann believes the tooth must be removed, but refuses to do it, claiming the patient is too far gone. The man dies screaming, his head in the hands of priests, muttering prayers in delirium. You're present at his death. It traumatizes you. This man, a warrior, reduced to a fevered corpse. His eyes roll back. His body goes rigid, then limp. The death rattle, that final breath, it haunts you for years. Diseases themselves are mysteries, but common dysentery, as mentioned, frequent typhus, spread by lice, causes fever, body aches, rash, often death. You watch soldiers develop typhus. Their skin becomes covered in a distinctive rash. They burn with fever. After a week or two, either recovery or death, pneumonia, from damp conditions and poor nutrition. Especially in winter, men cough blood. Their breathing becomes labored. Within days, death. Wounds becoming infected with what's likely staph or strep, resulting in blood poisoning. The infected limb becomes red, swollen, hot to the touch. The infection spreads upward, toward the heart, and death follows. The treatment for most illnesses is bloodletting. Johann's logic, borrowed from classical medicine, is that diseases result from an imbalance of humors. 4 bodily fluids that must be balanced: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile. So for almost any illness, the treatment is to open a vein and allow blood to flow. The patient loses approximately 1 pint of blood per session. Multiple sessions are common. The result, patients become weak, anemic, often dying from the treatment rather than the disease. You experience bloodletting at age 25 for a fever that probably would have resolved on its own. Johann opens a vein in your arm, blood pouring into a basin. The amount seems impossible. How much blood can a human contain? 2 sessions. 2 pints of blood lost over 2 days. You become so weak. You cannot stand for 3 days. Your vision blurs. Your thoughts become foggy. Your heart races constantly. You're convinced you're dying. Actually dying. In the end, the infection, whatever it was, does resolve. But at what cost? By age 35, you've become something other than human. You've killed men, at least 6, possibly more. In battle, the counting doesn't happen. You lose track. You've seen friends die in ways too horrible to remember, yet you remember them perfectly. Every detail. Your body is a map of scars. Your hands permanently shaped like weapons grips. The muscles in your forearms have developed permanent tension. Your shoulders dislocated and reset so many times. They're unstable. Sometimes they slip slightly, causing sharp pain. Your mind is fractured. The nightmares began after your first battle. But instead of diminishing, they've intensified. You wake at night, gasping, sometimes swinging your arms as if wielding a sword. Other squires have learned to stay away from you when you sleep. You've actually struck sleeping comrades, your fist connecting with their bodies before your conscious mind catches up. There's always a moment between sleeping and waking where you don't know where you are. Are you in battle or in the fortress? Reality feels uncertain. Certain sounds trigger panic. Horse hooves, loud noises, the ringing of metal. These sounds throw you immediately back into combat. Your body tenses. Your hand reaches for a weapon. You've been close to killing a friend multiple times. On one occasion, a younger squire accidentally knocked over a chair. The clatter sounded like weapons. You drew your sword. You were ready to kill him, until your conscious mind reasserted itself. The castle physicians suggest more bloodletting, to drain the corrupted humors causing your distress. It doesn't help. It makes things worse. If anything, physical pain is also constant. Your old wounds ache in damp weather. Your missing teeth cause chronic headaches. Your infected fungal toes throb constantly. Your hearing in your right ear is diminished from a sword blow you took 15 years ago. Something ruptured inside. You've lived with partial deafness since. This makes you paranoid. What are you not hearing? Your eyesight. Also degraded from years of squinting in sun-reflecting armor. You struggle to see clearly at distance now. Your digestion is destroyed. Years of poor diet, alcohol consumption, stress. All have created chronic stomach pain. Constipation alternating with sudden attacks of diarrhea. You never know when you might suddenly need to defecate. It's unpredictable, humiliating, socially. You're isolated. Even among other knights, war changes men. And men who've survived many battles. They're different. They're more violent, less patient, prone to anger. You've been in fights with other soldiers over minor things. A careless comment, a perceived insult. Suddenly you're fighting. Fists flying. Security having to separate you. Your reputation becomes volatile. Dangerous. Men avoid you. Don't want trouble. Your wife, if you have one, is terrified of you. You don't mean to be violent toward her, but your temper is unstable. One evening, she spilled wine. You screamed at her. You threw a cup. It missed, but barely the look in her eyes. The fear. You immediately regretted it, but you couldn't apologize. Couldn't explain. The rage had a life of its own. You have children you barely know. You were away when they were born. Away during their formative years. Away at wars when they needed you. You have nothing in common with your own children. Your son, 15, looks at you with a mixture of fear and disdain. He's strong, healthy, but you can see he wants nothing to do with you. Your wife manages the household. You pass through it like a ghost, eating meals in silence, sleeping in a separate room often, because your nightmares, your thrashing, disturb her. The only comfort is alcohol. You drink more each year, not socially, but to sleep, to quiet the screaming in your head by age 40. You're consuming nearly 6 liters of weak ale daily. A significant portion of your caloric intake comes from alcohol. Perhaps 30%. Your liver is enlarged, though you don't know this. You just know your abdomen hurts constantly. You assume it's from stress, from the poor food, from anything except the reality. Your hands shake in the morning. You need to drink to make them stop. This isn't weakness, you tell yourself. It's just how the body works. Everyone drinks like this, but it's not true. Some men drink more carefully. Some men can stop. You cannot. The alcohol helps you sleep, creates a fog that makes the nightmares less vivid, makes the world less sharp, less painful. Religion is supposed to provide comfort. You attend church regularly, perhaps more regularly than most. The church is the one place where you feel not comfortable exactly, but less judged. You confess sins, war crimes, by the standards of medieval morality, which are different from modern standards. But still, you've done dark things, things you witnessed, things you participated in, villages you passed through as a young squire, where non-combatants died. You rationalize this as war, but the faces remain. The priest grants absolution. Your sins are forgiven in God's name, but you don't feel forgiven. Late at night, alone, you feel damned. Some nights, you lie awake and wonder, is there a God? Does he care? Does he even notice what happens on earth? The priest would call this heresy. But in the privacy of your own mind, you doubt. Several knights of your acquaintance have taken monastic vows, retired from warfare, retreated to monasteries. You consider it. The idea of silence, of peace, of no more battles, sounds like heaven, but your Lord wouldn't permit it. Not yet. You're still valuable as a fighter. Your reputation, despite your instability, is that of a dangerous warrior. So you persist in this half-life, neither fully alive nor truly dead. You're 43 years old when your body finally gives up. It begins subtly. A pain in your abdomen, nothing dramatic, just persistent discomfort. Like something is wrong deep inside. Within a week, you're bleeding when you have bowel movements, internal bleeding. You suspect, but Johann refuses to discuss it. Beyond his abilities, beyond his understanding, your energy fails. You sleep constantly, but you're never rested. You wake more exhausted than when you slept. A cough develops, not dramatic, but it persists. You dismiss it as nothing. By winter, you're coughing up blood, small amounts, but unmistakable. Johann eventually visits. His diagnosis is vague. Your time is coming, he says, with unusual gentleness. Almost apologetic. You know what he means. The last month of your life is spent in the castle, in a room where dying soldiers are kept. A priest visits daily, offering prayers, last rites. You're conscious, mostly, though pain medication, herbal, ineffective, has left you in a fog. You have moments of clarity, and moments where you drift, in and out of dreams. Some nightmares, some peaceful. Visitors come. Your wife, looking relieved you're dying. A crude assessment, but honest. She'll remarry. Someone younger, probably. Someone without damage. The thought should bother you, but mostly you're glad. Glad she'll escape from this. From you, your eldest son, who barely knows you, stands awkwardly, not sure what to do, not sure what to say. He's inherited your instability. You can see it in his eyes. He'll become a warrior, probably. It's expected, but you wonder if he'll suffer like you have. You try to give advice, words of wisdom, the final gift a father offers a son. But your words don't make sense. Your mind is too confused, too much pain. Be strong, you manage. Don't let them break you, but he will be broken. You know this. The world breaks everyone. That's how it works. Your friend, another aging knight, visits the night before you die. He holds your hand, not talking, just present, because he understands what this is. You both knew men who made this journey. Now it's your turn. It's all right, he says quietly. It'll be over soon, and you're grateful for that. For the promise of an end, the final hours. You're mostly unconscious. Your breathing becomes labored. Your body, even broken, is trying to keep you alive. But there's nothing left to sustain. Pain medications have stopped working. Or maybe you're just beyond pain now, floating in a space between life and death. You think about your childhood. Briefly, the castle you grew up in. Your mother's face. Features blurry now. Hard to remember clearly. You think about battles. Not all of them. Your mind is too tired to access them all. Just flashes. Blood. Screaming. The weight of armor. You think about your friends. The ones who died. You wonder if death means you'll see them again. Part of you hopes so. Part of you fears meeting them. What would you even say in the early morning, before dawn? Your breathing simply stops. The priests perform final rituals. Your body is wrapped in cloth, placed in the castle chapel. You're given a funeral because you had rank. Not all soldiers receive funerals, but you did. A mass, the priest speaking Latin, your name spoken aloud for what might be the last time. They bury you in the churchyard. A stone marker, your name carved into it. Sir, your name, knight of your lord's name, died in the year of our Lord, 1193. If you were lucky enough to be literate and remembered, most soldiers aren't. Most graves are unmarked, lost to history. But you were a knight. You get to be remembered. Your story ends at approximately 43 years old, which for a medieval knight who survived to adulthood is actually remarkable. Most didn't make it this far. Now, slowly, I'm bringing you back from the year 1150, from stone castles and cold battles, from pain and sickness, back to this moment, here, where you are safe, your body, warm, comfortable, not aching, not infected. You have hot water whenever you want, soap, cleanliness, things a medieval knight would have considered extraordinary luxuries. You have medicine, real medicine, that actually works. Antibiotics, anesthetics, painkillers, doctors trained through education, not just apprenticeship. Your teeth, intact, cared for, clean. You can see a dentist, painlessly. Someone can clean them, repair cavities, extract problematic teeth. With actual anesthesia, your food is fresh, varied, without stones, without rot. Your water, from a tap, clean, safe, tested, regulated. Your sleep, tonight, will be undisturbed. No nightmares, no panic, no dreams of screaming. Your life, however imperfect it seems, is incomparably better. The medieval knight dreamed, in his rare moments of peace, of a life like yours. Safety, health, comfort, ease, the ability to see another day without fear. You have these things. Rest now. Sleep deeply. Without fear, without pain. Rest now. Sleep deeply. Without fear, without pain.